super stoked. Super stoked to have you on.
Same here.
We've been talking back and forth for a while, bro. I look back at some of our conversations, they're like, it's like a year and a half.
Yep.
It's like 2 years.
Yeah.
And I've never met you in person, in the flesh.
Right.
Dude, I mean, watching you, and kind of talking with you and seeing some of the stuff that you put out, I think is helped me. It's definitely helped me.
Really
And I think it's like that's why I wanted to do, something like this, is because you're able to see the effect that you have on people that maybe you don't even know, or that you haven't even seen or met, and I think I see some of the stuff that you've been doing. So, I mean, I kind of want to get, right into that, for you. Let's kind of, before we do anything, let's kind of start from the beginning. For you, like, those of people who don't know, you have, your the barber shop in Meriden, New Style Hair Studio, and you have been doing some really interesting things there. So we'll get into that. But you also are an artist as well, and I think that people have seen that side of you. But let's kind of like pull it back a little bit. Where did it all start from, and where did you come from, and how has this journey, been for you?
So I was born in Puerto Rico, and my mom was in a not so great relationship with my father. So eventually, my sister was born. She wanted to give us a better life, get away from my dad at the time. He was abusing drugs. And we come out to Meriden, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And my aunt was here.
Nice.
In Connecticut. And, single parent, growing up, low-income housing, going to school, not knowing English.
You didn't know English?
I didn't know English. My mom didn't know English.
Really?
We were straight Spanish, off the boat type of, we lived in the mountains in Puerto Rico. Like,
oh, way up. Yeah.
Yeah, we lived in the mountains in Puerto Rico, and we didn't have, it's very different to what it is out here. Yeah. Even in Puerto Rico, when you lived in the city, you lived in the mountains, you're still like away from normal civilization. So we lived in the mountains.
Yeah.
Like my mom recalls having dirt floors.
Yeah.
Growing up type of thing.
And how, kind of coming here was a huge culture shock for you to be in Meriden.
For my mom, for us. I was little, so when you're kids, you kind of like just go with the flow. But it was huge for my mom.
Yeah.
She started, we started from the bottom, and she eventually got a job, and, started, dealing with the American dream and trying to progress out here.
Now coming here from Puerto Rico and then coming here and then have it being such a shock, did you fall in love with our culture? Like as you were growing up, I mean, you kind of grew up here, but I mean, was there a part of you like that was here and you're like, oh man, this is American dream, I want to be a part of that? Did it start early, or is it that something more recent?
That came after. I was just a kid. I was into cartoons. Ninja Turtles just came out. I remember those are like the first cartoons I fell in love with.
Learning English from them.
Thundercats.
Yes, good shit. Yeah, I've seen
Zelda.
some of the paintings you made on all of those. I think I've seen paintings of all of them, almost all superhero stuff. You've been killing it with that.
Yeah. So my mom actually had a boyfriend. I got into art because my mom had a boyfriend. He would, he'd bring art that he did, and I was like interested. I was fascinated by his skills, and I started doing my own little drawings and going to school, paint. I wasn't talking too much English, so I would paint. I do a lot of art.
Yeah.
And that's how I would express myself. And I was in bilingual classes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's what really sparked the art in my life and got me inspired to do art, and eventually I fell in love with it and just kept progressing with my abilities.
I could see it.
My mom saw, she saw my talent early on, and she would always buy me paint, markers, papers, anything to keep me away from trouble and in the house and busy.
Yeah.
My mom was really afraid out here because, it was all new to us.
It's easy to get in trouble around here too.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep it here. Yeah, there you go, just in case. Yeah, it's easy to get in trouble. And I mean, I have kind of a similar past as far as not really, as far as moving from a different place, but as far as being, very low income. My dad, was making, I believe I looked at a pay stub. My dad passed away a long time ago, but when I looked at a pay stub I remember I had in a filing cabinet, and I was like, man, that guy had no business having 4 kids and being able to do that. And there was times where we did the same thing. We go to church and I remember going shopping in the basement of the church, like with macaroni and sauce, and I remember being like, man, it's weird that this church is, I'm like, this is how absent you are to it as a kid. You're just like, man, it's weird that they got a store down here. Like, I remember being like, man, it's so odd that they have a store here.
It was similar because, you know what? I remember we were broke too. And my mom was a single parent, and it was 3 of us. I remember going to my aunt's house, and my mom pretty much like shopping in my aunt's house. See what she had to give us.
Give that to me? Yeah.
I remember doing that. And it's crazy because my mom worked really hard to get us out of that situation. And eventually, she got a great job and got her license, and she built herself up. And watching her through all the struggles that she went through, and against all odds, not knowing English, not having no relationships whatsoever out here, to someone help her find a job or help her. My mom really worked hard to put herself in a situation to give us a good life.
Yeah,
we had later on. We eventually had a good life. My mom worked hard for that. We had a car. We would go to Six Flags in the summertime.
Yeah.
So she did a really good job.
That's awesome, man.
Working hard.
So for her, would you say that she was maybe one of your first mentors?
Definitely one of my first everything. She was my first love, my first mentor, my first fan.
That's huge, man.
She kept me motivated. She went to all the shows. She was definitely a big, big supporter.
And then after, kind of that, does that kind of set you up for looking into other mentors as well? Like that set you up for what you wanted to see in other mentors? Like your mom?
I at the time, I really wasn't aware of mentors.
When
you're a kid, you're just like, you
like,
gravitate to the people that want the best for you. And I knew that my mom always wanted the best for me. It's kind of hard, to find mentors or understand what mentoring is when you're a young kid.
Yeah. When did you start to realize and find them though? So what age?
I started realizing about mentors as I got older. Adulthood.
Yeah, same.
But when I look back, I'm like, wow, I had this art teacher named Mr. O'Neill that was a mentor.
Yeah.
In 8th grade.
And you don't
realize those things. I was in La La Land all the time. Just I was
drawing Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I was one of those kids that I was in my own world.
Yeah,
it really had to interest me for you to grab my attention.
And how'd you do in school? Were you bad in school? Good in school?
I was good in school all the way up to I was class clown because I was a comedian in middle school.
Same.
But high school was bad.
Yeah.
Because my mom she was in a relationship with a guy. It was kind of like a stepfather figure. They broke up in high school.
Yeah. You started down that.
I started going. Yeah, I was just mad.
Yeah.
My mom was having a hard time paying the bills. It's kind of like a divorce. You go through a divorce, you have a hard time keeping up with everything because you're used to 2 incomes. Now she's down to 1 income. And I remember having to get a job at Mobile when I was 16 years old to help her pay the bills.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I was angry at that. I was angry that I had to use all the money that I made.
Yeah.
That I wanted to buy a microphone with to go record music.
Yes.
I had to use it to help my mom pay bills.
A responsibility a young man shouldn't, or you might not want to take on just yet.
Right.
But I get it.
I loved my mom and I wanted to help the family. It just sucked that the situation was so tough on us.
Yeah.
So that just kind of like, so this is the thing. I remember having like $400 saved up, and I've been saving up for this microphone I wanted to buy. And then, a bill came, electric bill came, and my mom needed that pretty much amount of money to pay the bill. And I was like, here.
Yeah.
But it's something that I worked so hard to
accomplish,
to save up. Eventually I got the microphone.
Yeah.
But it was just like little things like that. It made me realize how hard life was. And, life was very not fair at early ages like that.
So that helps you prepare for this stuff that you're doing, maybe not, now, but it really helped you prepare and become that gritty, resilient, young man that that you had the power to become. Maybe you didn't know it then when you were so young.
Right.
My parents got divorced too. My parents got divorced and it was very messy, and I was only in middle school, and I actually, kind of like essentially ran away from home, couch surfed, was homeless for a little bit, kind of bouncing around. So I ran from that responsibility. My mom was trying to find herself. My dad was trying to find himself, you know, that
Right.
type of thing. And so what happens is, at least for me, I use that now more than ever. And it's also okay to go like, hey, you used your experiences and now look what it's done for you. It's made you so gritty and tough, and you understand adulthood. And it's the same with me. And I actually was talking with somebody the other day, and that doesn't understand that didn't go through any of that had two parents that stayed together, and they paid for their college, and they did this. Where they're stronger, I'm weaker, and where I'm weaker, they're stronger. You know what I mean? Like, we have different strengths and weaknesses. Right. I used to hate on people like that. I'd be like, look at you, perfect family.
Yep.
Shit.
Same here.
You guys are garbage. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm so tough. Like, I used to do that. And then now it's like, well, the areas where they're tough, I'm weak. I'm weak, they're tough. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just different.
Right. And that's the thing with my girlfriend grew up with, both parents, great household, very loving, family things, and very quote unquote, organized, perfect life.
Yeah, the nuclear family. That like,
and very true. I mean, same thing. She has very strong things that I can't, that I probably like hate on. Like,
yeah.
But we all have our strength in different. Life is life, and life is, even when you look at someone having a quote unquote perfect life, they're still going through stuff too. Because
exactly,
at the end of the day, the war is in your mind, regardless of how perfect your life could be. Like, look at Tommy Hilfiger's son. He's a heroin addict.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he still is. I don't want to say he still is.
Yeah, but
when you're the war is in your mind. It doesn't matter the perfect life or the rough life.
Exactly.
It's we all, you have the brain, and it's the same thing.
Everybody has their own struggles. So the thing is like, we used to hate on people like that. And I mean, I guess we still do. I mean, I don't know about you. I still do sometimes. Then I got to check myself.
I'm always checking myself.
Yeah.
Right? Because you know what? All these feelings are natural. Like, jealousy is natural. Like, when I meet people say, "Oh, I'm not a hater," I'm like, or I've never been a hater. I'm like, you're lying, because we all have these natural emotions that we have to put in check.
Yeah.
So it's okay to say, "Hey, I was jealous of you for this."
Yes.
But I put myself in check because, I don't know what struggles you had or how hard you worked to get to where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, same thing with me. Some people, this guy's, he's born with all this talented, he's gifted.
Yeah.
People laughed at my art for a long time. People laughed at my dreams of making money off my art for a long time.
Yeah. You made a painting for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Dude, I was so, all right. Sorry. No, I was so excited. I was so fucking stoked that you made that painting. I'm not even gonna lie. I got a little tear. I was like, got all teary. My girl's like, "Are you all right?" And I showed her. She's like, "Oh man, you've been wanting that. You've been wanting that painting." You know what I mean? And I'm now in a position to facilitate somebody's craft for my aesthetic gain, my gain. And I'm just like, dude, fell in love with it. I'll put a picture of it up so you guys can see it. I'll probably take a zillion pictures.
I had a lot of fun doing it. And I went from, I remember, like, so I used to do music. I was always an artist. Eventually, I fell in love with hip hop.
Yeah.
I went, I started doing, writing music and recording and have an album out. And I went to, the radio stations. I had songs on the radio. And eventually, it's just, the business was so ugly.
Yeah.
Ugly people. Like, the music business is just full of snakes.
Yeah, for
bad
sure.
People taking advantage of you. And
we see
money.
that now. We see that now more than ever.
Right.
So you got a taste of that.
I got a taste of the business world and the ugliest side of it, because I think music
it can be good, but it's
the music business, when you're dealing with a lot of wolves and a lot of bad people,
sharks in the water.
And I mean, a lot of businesses, you deal with a lot of that stuff, but I think the music business, people were just like trying to feed off of people trying to make it and spend. Hey, I could do this for $1,000, and you give them the $1,000, nothing happens.
Exactly.
So eventually, I got really depressed, and that's where I started working with my art.
Yeah.
And I remember starting to selling my art. I posted a picture up on Facebook. Someone said, "Hey, how much for that?" I said, $40.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. I started selling art at $40, $50, and it was oil pastels. It wasn't even paintings yet.
Yeah, yeah. And now it's better, more than $40, $50, and so obviously you were doing a great thing. And I've seen all of your art, and I really, the DMX one that you just did, that was beautiful. The Biggie one that you did, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
I just, seeing those, and especially the superhero stuff, because I'm super nerd when it comes to some of the superhero stuff, dude. I like looked, I'm like, dude, that's dope. The Joker, you did a Joker one, I believe, yeah, and it was crazy.
The one with the smoke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My brother owns that one.
Oh, dude, let me talk to your brother. I want to buy it off of him because I want that. Yeah. We'll talk about this afterwards.
Yeah.
But I saw that and I was like, that. And I remember I showed my buddy because we were in the car. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, check that out. He's like, dude, that's freaking crazy. So it's like you clearly have a talent, and I'm the type of person to notice, because I've been around so many talented people and I've leveled up, and so many people have supported me and leveled me up, that I don't look at somebody who's doing something and just go anymore like, oh, look at what they've done. It's because of this. What interested me in you is that to see you progress with your painting and to see like it change, like as you went along, to evolve into something that became expression. Like I know that it was expression before, but then it became more 3-dimensional, and then more about, you having that creative eye, and it becomes hard work.
Right.
And so the painting is obviously something that has facilitated your craft. That's love. That's like I said, that's hard work. That's passion, and purpose.
And years of failing.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to ask you, how many have you thrown, like just smashed, or like been like, oh my God, I fucked that up?
You know what's crazy? I don't really do that often. I just like probably once or twice where I just like threw something out or I painted over.
Yeah.
I appreciate it for what it is. I like to look back at my art and be like, wow, that wasn't as great as I am today, but it's just, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
It makes me happy because it shows me where I come from. You know what I mean? And it was a tough. I remember, just believing in myself so much. And people like, this guy really thinks he's gonna make a career out of being a painter. You're selling these for $50. Like, how many of these you got to make to make ends meet?
Yeah.
And I told him one day I'm gonna sell him one for $10,000.
Yeah.
Eventually I'm gonna sell pieces for $10,000-$20,000.
It's gonna happen.
And that's what I'm working towards. You know what I mean? And it's gonna happen because I've been selling pieces for $800, $1,000. People hire me to do a little mural work for $1,500.
Well, you clearly have the skill, and you clearly have practiced that craft, and to practice your craft as much as you have been, and to do all the things as much as you have been, will lead you to that success or where you envisioned it to be. And I think that I love that feeling. And I know maybe to some people it's toxic, and maybe it's harmful, but to me, proving everybody that said I couldn't do something wrong is one of my favorite things to do. And I've done it for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
It's just, right. You're just like, oh yeah, watch me.
It's really tricky because I actually appreciate all those people so much, because if it wasn't for those people, I would know what I'm capable of doing, but don't do it.
Yeah.
I've always used to say I could draw portraits. I know I could. I mean, I used to always say I could paint portraits. I know I can. And I've tried. I remember attempting and just messing up and like, fuck, like I can't do this. And I just kept doing. I don't know, something in me, and it was the people not believing in me. I think
it's the fire.
It's just lit. Yeah, the fire was lit. And right now, like, I remember people making fun of my weight one time. I took upon to make sure I was fit.
Your weight? Yeah, I think that's something.
I used to be overweight. I used to be.
Oh, I know. I remember
35% body fat. I remember being.
Now you're Jack City, bro. You came in here. I'm like, oh, bro, you're showing me up. I got a fitness studio. This dude looks like a monster.
So it's like, in every aspect of my life, I'm gonna improve. Like, I started doing audiobooks.
Yes.
Because people,
I can't sit down and read.
I wasn't the smartest kid.
Yeah.
And reading, like, I suck at reading.
Same.
I could read something and I have to read it 100 times before I understand what's going on. So audiobooks pretty much helped me evolve.
Yeah.
And made life easier for me in the learning world, because I would go on a treadmill for 45 minutes and do my audiobook, and then put some music on and do all my weightlifting. But my goal has always, like, deep down inside, it sounds a little arrogant, but I just wanted to be superhuman, like just be incredible in every aspect of my life, like father, my art, my music, barbering, business, fitness. You know, I'm even trying to do better with controlling my emotions, because those are the biggest things that destroyed me in my younger days, was not being able to control emotions and not understanding where they're coming from or how to channel them.
Yeah.
And that's where the drugs came in eventually.
Yeah.
Because you know, I became a very severe drug addict between the ages of 16 and 20 because of not being able to control my emotions.
Yeah.
Girl broke my heart. I'm going to start doing cocaine, ecstasy, just to get away from that feeling.
You getting into that. Yeah. I wanted to touch on that too. Like for you, I think so many people fall into that trap, you know, that trap of, you know, you letting their emotions dictate everything. And they're so emotional. They're so overly emotional that it becomes toxic to their life. They're that self-defeating, self-sabotaging starts to come in. And I did it for so long, man. I mean, I was probably, I started very young. Like I was a little bit younger than you, you know, started.
Taking drugs?
Yeah. Taking drugs, selling drugs. I was like 14, 15, you know, I did a lot of things way early, you know, because my parents got divorced. It was really messy. And I just kind of did that whole, I'm out, you know, and
you're just dealing with emotions.
And I was all about my emotions, you know, and now more than ever, like you know, that time, I got out of it pretty quick though. I was like 21, 22. So it was like 5, 6 years. You start to learn your lesson from everybody else, like where you're like, wow, this isn't what I want it to be.
Well, what happened was, I did everything. I did ecstasy, cocaine, PCP.
PCP, yeah.
I did a bunch of different things. But I remember being high on drugs one time, and my mom went to this house that we all did drugs, and she called me outside, and she, you know, I got a 16-year-old daughter now, but back then she was just a baby, and she said, if you don't change your life, this is what you're going to lose. And, you know, you got this beautiful daughter, you need to fucking change your life, or you're going to lose everything. And that picture in that moment was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I was drugged up. I was like, I wasn't even looking at her in her eyes. I was just fucking looking away.
Bugging.
My mom knows that I'm fucking high. I'm not trying to show her. So that motivational speech my mom gave me changed my life forever.
Yeah.
So I started the process of, you know, I was going through a lot of stuff. I was domestic violence issues with my kid's mom.
Yeah.
I was always paranoid because of the drugs. I was just angry. My dad wasn't around. Angry, you know, all these reasons. I'll play the victim. I'll look for all these different reasons just to be angry.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I started the process of trying to not do drugs and working on it. Eventually, I went to jail, which is, I think it's God's work.
Yeah.
Like months later, I ended up going to jail. I had a big argument and just went crazy.
Yeah.
And went to jail.
Yeah.
There I started rehabilitating myself.
Yeah.
Like myself. Like me doing, you know, the prison didn't help me at all.
Yeah.
It was me who helped me as far as being isolated in a single cell thinking. My mind was like, you got to change your life.
Yeah.
Or this is what's going to be. When you get out of here, you're going to do the same thing if you don't change it. So I started working. I started working out in jail. I started going to school. I got my GED.
Same. Yeah. Good stuff.
I was doing art in there. I was cutting hair. And I left jail when I turned 21 in jail. And I left and just started my mission.
Never looked back.
Never looked back. Went through a lot of shit still. Like I still got years and years of learning, but I, you know, started, you know, promoting my music when I got out, did all the music stuff, and then got really depressed.
Yeah.
For a while because just the way life was going with the music, and I feel like I wanted to be this big hip hop celebrity.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't going that way. So I just I invested a lot of money in the music business that I lost, and it's just probably over $100,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Of hard earned money, like no drug money.
Yeah. Just like your blood, sweat, and tears.
I was working at Bazzuto's distribution.
Yes.
And I was working 12 to 14 hours a day and getting my checks and dumping all of it into the music. You know, it was crazy.
That's and that's when you were like, oh man, you know, you can't. You know, you're doing that, and there wasn't the return that you were expecting.
Not even close.
And then did you, from then, right after that, were you like started to get really big into painting, and then the barber the barbershop? Like, where did that start to happen?
So, my kid's mother at the time was pregnant with my third daughter, and I told myself, I'm like, I'm about to be 30. I'm about to have 3 kids. I need to get this shit together.
Yeah.
I need to think of a career. So I sat down. I'm like, what do you really like to do that you wouldn't mind doing? You know, I thought about stupid things like being an electrician, a plumber. I'm like, but those things don't fulfill me.
Yeah.
So eventually I was like, you know, I could just go be a barber.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be hard, but I just needed to do something that I'll be happy regardless of how much money you made.
Because you enjoy it. So with you kind of getting into the atmosphere of a barbershop. Now I need to tell you, and because maybe you'll think it's sad, maybe you won't. But for me, the barbershop is the only place that relaxes me. Like the way that I'm not thinking about anything. And I think it stemmed from when I was a kid to when I was like 15, 16. You know, things were just they were rough for me, you know, but I was able to eventually get myself out of it. But going to the barbershop, it was like joking around. I could crack jokes.
You could be yourself.
I could be myself, you know, and I didn't have to be a tough guy. I didn't have to, you know, try to do anything. Oh God, there's pictures of me. So I look so stupid because I was playing that tough guy persona, you know, for a long time. Right. And I mean, now, you know, I'm just a silly goose, you know, and I think people mistake kindness for weakness too. Like I'll still lay you out. But the thing is I still was able to be myself in the barbershop and making everybody laugh. They used to call me the funny guy, you know, they'd be, oh, the funny guy's there. Oh, come here, sit down, you know, and it was great. And I mean, I go to the barbershop now, it's the same thing. I'm able to fully relax, to be myself, and it's such a great environment. I mean, barbers are like therapists, man. They're like trainers. I'm, you know, personal trainer. They're like, you guys deal with everything. And I think that's why I feel so good.
I grew up, my dad was a barber, and if he didn't, you know, go down the bad road of drugs and everything he did, he would have been a great hairstylist, because he was more like a hairstylist at first. Yeah. And now he cuts hair, but I've always been, and my mom was a hairstylist in high school. Like, she would do things like that. She was, you know, real life hitter, so she had to deal with having to get a job and 3 kids. But anyways, I was always inspired by barbers. I knew my dad was a barber. My dad was lived in Philadelphia, eventually moved to Philadelphia, and I'll go visit my uncles in Philadelphia, and everyone always say how great of a guy and barber my dad was. Yeah. And I don't know, I just always, you know, been around the barbering thing. And then in middle school, I couldn't afford a barber, so I eventually started cutting my own hair. Yeah. And that's pretty much how the whole barbering thing happened.
Well, I'm glad that, you know, you were cutting your own hair and your hair looks good, because you should see when I was cutting my hair with my buddy, it looked fucking terrible. Dude, I had the cut side spiked like crazy, blonde. You know, it was just terrible. Whipped my ass with some peroxide up on the top. You know what I mean? Like, your hair looks great. I mean, if I cut my hair, dude, it would be shit.
Yeah, I could cut my own hair now in like 15 minutes.
You're just like, well, yeah, I mean, like I said, you're professional now. Dude, if I did it now, she would not look good.
The first time I cut my own hair, I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I went to school. I thought I did a good job.
You were getting hated on.
People were making fun of me, and they're like, "You left a bunch of hair in the back." So the kid was playing with me. It was fine.
It was fine.
So I go home like, where the hell is this patch he's talking about?
Messing with you.
So I freaking just balled it all out.
Oh no, he got to you.
And then the next day I go and they laugh even more. So it was just like, it was funny.
Yeah, that's even better when they get you. Yeah. You got to be able to take it. You know, that's the best. Dude, I have a self-deprecating humor. I constantly am making fun of myself. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you know, you have to.
When you become so secure with who you are and what you are, it just doesn't matter. Bro, a lot of things don't fucking matter.
Oh, dude, I walk my cats, bro. I walk my cats. You heard me say that funny. Right on the mic, bro. My buddy was making fun of me the other day. I'm like, yo, kiss my ass. I am secure. Look at me, man.
You put your dogs on a leash?
I don't have a dog. I put my cats on the leash. We're just walking outside, hanging out, neighbor. Yeah. What's up, bro? What's up? And they're like, what is that? And they go, is that a cat? I'm like, it's a cat, bro. And
that's funny.
So for me, it's like, I'm secure, man. Yeah. I haven't been insecure about myself. Probably in like really badly, because I'm in the fitness industry. We deal with people with body dysmorphia. We deal with, you know, guys with Napoleon syndrome, really short. We deal with guys who are constantly looking in the mirror, women who are constantly looking in the mirror. And when I started taking care of my health and stopped caring about what people think, I mean, I stopped posting, all those shirtless pics of myself, all this stuff, wanting the attention,
Right.
to now posting pictures of performance and business, and because I'm very comfortable, myself, and I think that it's huge for men, because right now we have a big problem with a lot of young men being so uncomfortable with being themselves.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That they are lying to themselves, they're lying to women, they're lying to other men, and I think that's a problem.
But I think that's the issue with being a teenager, period.
Yeah, for sure.
Being a teenager is the hardest thing, I think, in life, because you're figuring things out. You're figuring everything I've learned, like the secrets of life. I know you know about this, like the laws of the universe, and all this. I know a lot.
Yeah.
And the things that I know now, I didn't know back then, and a lot of these kids don't know. And if you sit down to try to teach them something, they're so ignorant they don't fucking goes in one ear out the other, and it's like, so it's just tough being a teenager. And at this point, I think obviously teenagers need to want something.
Yes.
You need to want something.
Purpose.
You need to find your purpose, or a purpose, or because if you're just floating around doing whatever you want to do, like
aimlessness,
like a Neanderthal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna go nowhere.
You have to have some sort of direction,
right?
So you're saying you're saying like aimlessness. I agree with you. That's what I've seen more now than ever. Is there's so much aimlessness. I mean, like I said. I mean, if we're talking in context of business, like real quick, like barbers, trainers are almost the same. I've seen so many trainers come in and out and then bounce around in other facilities. I go, yo, try to improve in one spot. Stay in one spot. So people get to know you, so people get to see you. Where there's an absence of, like things that need to be done, can become your responsibility, and then you build up your reputation.
Right.
But what happens is they're so quick, especially when you're young. You bounce around. You bounce. I don't know who. And it's like
you're on a treadmill.
Yeah, you're on a treadmill. You bring it up, bring it down, and after a while, you're like, bro, if you would have just stayed in one spot, and you would have focused on your craft, one thing at a time, I think that you'd be able to go further. And I've seen that with my own staff and myself. I've been here for 6 years now, and we've been doing, I mean, the return is amazing, that you have a community, and you're building that for yourself too. And I've seen it like so much in the past. How long have you been there?
Where?
Your current, the barbershop.
We are going to be there a year in August.
So you're there in a year, and you're doing some pretty profound things. I haven't even heard of anything like it. So that's why, and I have a couple of friends that are like, you gotta talk to him. You gotta have him on, And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yo, I'm already on it. Like I already wanted you on.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And so talk to me about like you being in that one spot, you focusing on being the best business owner, father, painter. That's a lot of things. But it seems like that barbershop is really taking off, and some of the stuff you're doing there with the sensory.
The kids on the spectrum.
Yeah, the kids on the spectrum is amazing, bro.
Yeah, so when the pandemic happened, before that I was working at a barbershop, and I was the one taking all the kids.
Yeah.
And I started realizing some of the kids were on the autism spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And, I started seeing single parents coming in and having to deal with that by themselves, and I always wanted to be the one to help them, because my mom was a single mom, and for time being, I felt like I was, special needs too, because I didn't know English, and, you need special treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember some people, being open about helping my mom at the time with different things. And I don't know, I was inspired. Everything I do now is inspiring from my childhood. Parents and kids mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
So when I was cutting all the kids, and the parents are, they're so happy and thanking me, like, thank you so much. Every time we go to the barbershops, they, pretty much ignore us, or, no one tries to help me, or they say they don't cut kids. And I was always the one that cared and cut the kids and all that stuff. So I built a big clientele base of kids on the spectrum, and kids in general. So when the whole pandemic thing happened, I pretty much decided to leave the barbershop and focus on myself.
Yeah.
And I was doing a lot of painting, and I actually have one of my friends, big time, he's an investor. He comes up to me, he's like, hey, are you ready to do something big with me? I said, I think I might be ready, to do something. And told him, the whole barbershop thing, and then but I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
So I every time I want to do something fresh and different, I spend a lot of time by myself. It could be weeks. I'm just by myself in my mind, thinking and
Solitude.
searching.
Yeah.
Eventually, it hit me. It's like, you know what? There has to be some type of training for autism.
Yeah.
Just so I could make parents feel comfortable that I got extra knowledge. And I found it. And actually, my girlfriend found it. She's like, hey, there's this place that certifies people with certificates and with learning about autism and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, cool. So I took I did the training, I took the test, I passed it, but it wasn't geared towards barbering. It was just
I was
geared
gonna ask that.
to understanding, autism and different things.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I want to make my barbershop, autism friendly.
Okay.
And we did that. And then I realized that there wasn't no program that's teaching barbers, and this is a big need in the field.
It's a huge deal.
When I was going to school for barbering, no one brought. I mean, they probably brought physical needs stuff up, and maybe a little bit of special needs, but they never really touched on the topic to teach you about sensory issues, how to accommodate them, how to
Anything really.
anything like that. So my girlfriend is a clinical social worker, and together we made this program with all my experience in the barbering world. And
dude, that's huge.
we put this program together, and now we're about to launch it with Ace Cosmetology, and because the owner of Ace Cosmetology, Gary, I told him about the program I did. So he's investing, and we're gonna blow it up. We're gonna make a website where any hairdresser or cosmetology could log on, and pay a fee and take the test. Take the training and then take a test and get certified. And we're gonna launch it out to all schools all around America and the world, and just make a big movement on.
That's huge, man.
Raising awareness for kids.
That's so huge.
Special needs kids, because I don't want it to just say kids on the autism spectrum or everything. I want every kid that needs special needs to feel accepted and be happy and have a great experience when they come get a haircut.
Yeah.
I don't want them growing up like every time I went to get a haircut when I was younger, I hate barbers because no one wanted to cut our hair.
Yeah, you turn into a dentist. Everybody's like, I don't want to go to the dentist. Every time I go, it hurts. And this, yeah.
And I'm trying, I want barbers and hairdressers to get respected like beauty doctors. Like,
yeah.
I feel like the barbering world lost a lot of respect. We used to be the ones pulling teeth. We used to be the ones
really doing everything. Yeah.
A lot of different things. And,
yeah.
And after time and time passed, and I feel like the barber kind of lost people lost respect for the barber.
It used to be the community. It was like a community barber thing. Like you'd go in and be like, yeah, that's Sal's, or hey, there's Joe, Joe's or whatever. And I agree with you on that. And I've seen that kind of go down. Do you think it was because, we keep lowering education? I think at least that's what I've seen and experienced myself. Like we keep lowering the bar for things. And do you think that's what kind of happened in, with the the cosmetology, the barbering world?
I think
salons
the reason
stuff.
The barbering industry lost respect for a while was because of the barbers.
Okay.
Was because of you going into barbershops, and you might, barbershops started, you smell weed. Or
yeah.
You
selling fake Jordans and stuff. That's where I used to do the same thing.
It's like swearing a lot.
Yeah.
No family orientation type of feel.
No sense of awareness.
No therapy feel. Awareness, like respect. People, I remember going to barbershops, and it's like, this guy just had a nipper in his station.
Yeah.
So the professionalism
goes out the window.
And it's because of the barbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I want to be the one to reinforce, and probably retrain barbers to be more professional and be more accepting, because barbers back then were the therapists. They really are dentists. They were the ones that you went to. They were like doctors. You know what I mean? So
I've definitely gotten that experience. Remember, I was telling you, that's the most relaxed, chill, fun. Granted, it was I was a dicey dude back then too, so we were doing dicey shit. But but the thing, usually I was the one bringing it to the barbershop. But now much different. I like that. I like going into a barbershop and having them, do well. Like my barber, was originally going to do some stuff with the school and do that. Then COVID happened, and that, and just he said the same thing. He really wanted to. There's not a lot of people that want to rise to his level, which is what I loved. Having that conversation with somebody, and you are getting the greeting and everything, and I just think that's so huge. To be as professional as possible, to take responsibility. Yeah, all the time.
What we're working on bringing back.
Yeah.
To the barber industry, like big time, like absolute greatness with customer service.
Yeah.
And like my barbershop, New Style Hair Studio, yes, we accommodate and accept kids on the spectrum, special needs, but we also adjust the feel. Like if it's all grown men at my barbershop, we're talking about grown men stuff.
Yeah.
We want everyone to feel comfortable, and we want everyone to come to the barbershop and experience a good time and different conversations. We try not to be political or religious, but sometimes we do get political and religious, and we have conversations about that.
You should be able to. Because
conversations they make the world go round, and especially in the barber world, it's what it's about. It's for a husband that's going through something with his wife to come vent. Yeah. Or a kid that's going through something in school, come vent.
Or he's being bullied, he comes down and he tells you.
Right.
And or somebody who's coming in and something's happening in their life and they tell you, and you could have made the difference to make their life not hell by giving them like, hey man, you should tell somebody to do this, and hey, you can get through this, and if you need anything, dude, that is what I agree with you. That is missing.
There's a lot of kids out there like myself when I was growing up with no mentors and no father figures. Yeah. I want my barbershop to be that shop that a kid comes through and be like, hey, I'm getting bullied by this person. We'll try to help you out. Or, hey, I need some advice. I have kids that asking me for advice. So should I go do military? Should I go do college? Hey, or I got this kid that came the other day. Hey, I'm doing boxing. I'm 21 years old. I'm excited. It's great to be able to come to the barbershop and express yourself and have somebody else be proud of you.
Do you take the time to think about that, like every day, or
I think about all of it.
Yeah,
I spend a lot of time by myself. Like seriously, I really
isolation is huge.
I don't really. If people hang out with me, it's because we're doing something to better something. Yeah. Like if you see somebody with me, it's because we're working. Yeah. We're doing something cool, and we're doing something that's gonna better something. It's not gonna be like, oh, we're hanging out because we're smoking weed. And that's it. Or we're going to. I don't drink. I don't really drink. I'll have a couple drinks with my girlfriend here and there,
but mostly it's like solitude is
just peace. And I've been through so much shit in my life that I just want peace.
Yeah, I think that a lot of men who've gone through a lot of those types of things, peace is what we're after. So there'll be times, and I like that you're saying this because it only reinforces what I'm doing. And I think anytime I'm around somebody who they're actually reinforcing what I do now, I have a tendency to do the same thing. Like I'll come home, like, I'm very social. You'll see my social media. It's very silly. Mm-hmm. I have a good time. But I need an equal amount of peace. I need an equal amount of no talking, no anything, audiobooks in the car. You know, I've read like at this point, like almost 60 books in the just because I've been listening to them, because I'm an auditory learner. I can't, same as you, I'll read something, I'll be like, all right, well, now I forgot that.
It's funny because with my younger daughters, they have books they gotta, like my daughter, she's 6 years old. She'll come in, she has to read a book. Yeah. Sometimes I read it to her. Yeah. And sometimes I let her read it. Yeah. Because we don't know. Yeah, you got to find out. And I also want her to feel that it's okay for someone to read to you sometimes. Yeah. Because I don't want to be like, oh, look at, frown upon someone reading to you, because it's okay. If
she learned it, who cares?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
so I try to instill that in my kids. Like, it's okay. And I explain to her, like, it's like an audiobook. If you ever want to listen to an audiobook when you get older, like it's kind of like daddy reading you this book. And
it's just a little, everybody's a little different. Yeah, different learnings.
Because you don't know, like,
you don't know what you are. Unless you knew. If I knew that in high school, it would have been a very different experience. I mean, probably.
I would have bought the audiobook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I to be clear, probably not the totally different experience, but I would. It would have been a little bit different, I think. For myself, and probably you, but I don't think we were in the right mindset at that point.
I think I was always going to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. I always had that mentality, entrepreneur. Yeah. Like, even though I didn't know what the hell an entrepreneur was back then, I was independent. I was like, I want to do my goal, even though I want to be a rapper and I want to be whatever the hell I want to be, my end goal was to be free.
And independent.
Independent, free. I call the shots. I go on vacation when I want. I take a day off when I want. I do whatever the fuck I want, because
feels good.
it feels great. Like I don't feel like I work. I feel like I'm retired.
Same, dude.
It's crazy
dude, this
because
is so great. I'm so glad that we're talking about this, dude.
Because dude, I could cut. I love the people I cut. I want to get the fuck out. I leave.
Mm-hmm.
If I go paint, I paint. I don't. People say, how do you have all this time to do all these things? It's because I'm doing what I love, and I don't feel like I need to take a break from it.
You don't feel tied down.
I don't feel tied down. I don't feel like I work every day, 7 days a week.
Yeah. So this is just this past like 2 weeks ago. I just started taking Saturday off. Like
you force yourself.
Yeah, I had to because I was becoming too dull. Like I was like talking to people and it's like all I talk about is work. Mm-hmm. All I talk about is this. I need a little bit of recharge my batteries. Most of the time on a Saturday, I come here, I'll work out. I got my headphones blaring, and then I'll go and try to like run around, do some things for myself.
Yep.
And I think that is so big at times. So then that way I can become more relatable later, because what was happening is I was working so much, like 6 to 7 days a week. Yep. And I've been doing that for 16 years. I lied on my first job application so I could get a job. Mm-hmm. I said I was 16 when really I was 15. They promoted me to manager after like 2 to 3 months. And I'm sitting there telling 40-year-old dudes what to do. And they're like, yeah, this kid can go fuck himself. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, I'm like, who's worse, you or me? I'm telling you what to do and you're almost 3 times my age, right. Twice my age. But so the thing is like, I knew that I was different. Definitely I was different. And a lot of my friends kind of have instilled that in me too. Like, hey, yo, you always were different. So talking to somebody who's a little bit more the same makes me feel like I'm on the right path. It makes me feel like I might be doing the right thing.
We always question ourselves, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I being an arrogant piece of shit?
Yeah.
Am I being like, all right, sometimes I'll be at family gatherings sometimes and someone's like, hey, I'm watching this show. Hey, Eddie, what do you watch? I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
And they're looking like, all right, Mr. Perfect, this guy's Jesus. You know what I mean? So,
you're like, not me. I don't watch that shit. And they're like, what? Oh, God, this guy.
And at the end of the day, I really don't. So my girl would be like, hey, let's watch a series. I'm like, I can't watch series because then that means I have to watch all those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That means it's time away from what I want to do, which is paint. All my free time I want to use to paint. That's my everything. That's my passion. That's what I want people to know me for as an artist and entrepreneur, businessman too. But I just want to be a painter, and that's my thing. So I try to stay away from that. And if I'm watching TV, I try to make it a documentary that I could learn something from.
Yeah. See, I'm so glad you're saying this too, dude. I needed this because I was telling my girl, and I was telling everybody, I was like, I watch too much TV. Yeah. When I'm breaking, I come home and I break hard and I watch TV. And I've been trying to get out of that. I'm going to teach myself out of that, though.
You know what it is? I do the same thing. I'll catch myself. I did a little bit of that when COVID.
Yeah,
I binge watched. Nicky Jam had a documentary about his life. I watched that whole fucking thing, but it was inspiring.
Yeah, that's different. Though.
It inspired me. It was about his story. I could relate to it. I was like,
that ignited you.
Exactly. So, like I said. And if I go, so this is another thing I do. If I want to watch a movie, I make sure I go to the theater.
Okay, because that's an experience.
Because I'm going to have an experience, and when I come home, it's not something I can make a bad habit of going to the movie theaters every day.
You know you're going to motivate me not to watch fucking TV, dude.
That's good.
You know you're going to do that for me. You're going to do that for me.
Just fill it up with something positive. Like
that's what I want to do. Something else, something different.
Even if it's just, TV is good because sometimes your body needs to just wind down, relax. Before bed, you could watch something. So I don't think, some people for a while I didn't even own a TV. I swear to God, I was in an art studio. I had a loft, and I didn't even own a TV, and I just painted.
Yeah,
and I didn't watch anything.
Well, obviously that.
Now I got a family, and a household, and
you got to play that family role. Yeah.
And I'll sit down and watch cartoons with my daughters here and there.
Yeah, well, that's dope though. That's fun.
Yeah,
she'll remember that for the rest of her life.
Right.
Yeah,
but. I hate to say that watching TV is bad. Just have a balance. Just have a too much is too much. Of anything is too much.
Okay, because this is seriously. I'm gonna end up.
But I try not to do series.
I'm gonna end up texting you in like 2 weeks and be like, "Bro, I don't watch any TV now because I want to start to write. I want to start to write a little bit more, articulate myself."
That's another thing. Yeah. I'm writing a book about my life.
Yeah.
And I want to gear it towards teenagers that are having a hard time in high school and stuff.
Oh man, that's huge.
And I got a lot done, but I should have got this book done a long time ago.
I think
I got so much shit going on.
Yeah, you're doing so much. It's like just kind of, one thing at a time and help that. But dude, this has been great. and I knew that there was going to be some things, some sparks that were going to fly, you know, with talking with you, because I really am. I was trying to work on that and trying to get people in that are going to make me better. I only want to make them better, give them opportunity, and vice versa. So I think the things that you're doing are fucking huge, man. I just think that the stuff you're doing at the barbershop is huge. Your paintings have improved so much, and I've been able to see that growth. And I think what you're doing, you know, with the community is, you know, phenomenal. And dude, I'd love to have you again, you know, and kind of see where you're at in the next 6 months to a year.
For sure.
And dude, we'll get this going again.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, it's been great. It's been good stuff.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate you.
Eddie. All right, we're out.